Yeah. So last time, what happened is that we looked at how PHP handles form data or data from HTML, okay? So today we want to see, after picking that data, can we send it to a storage system? And we shall start with the simplest storage system, which is a file, okay? Assume we have a file here. We are going to call this file students, excuse me. You're going to call this file students.txt, txt to stand for text. So, and then we are going to have our HTML, and we shall say this is students, okay? Ooh, my keyboard has started acting up. Let me get another keyboard. All right. I'll undo. Okay. So my students, we are going to call this students database. Probably let's call it file student database. Okay. So how can we do that? What we are going to do is that in this section here, we shall show the form for entering students, okay? Then down here, show a table of students in the database. Let's just say in the file database, okay? Then what else? Probably that's it, probably. So what we are going to do is that we shall use a HTML to create a form. We put a method like we said before, and this method is going to be post. The action is going to be send. We said you can give this any name that you want. Send student to file.php. Then we shall write a div. Oh, let me try to use image here to make life a little bit easy. Shall write a div. It shall have input as a child, and then it shall have an no, it can't have a name, and it shall be like 3. So and undo. I think I need to. I think I need to do this. Yes, that's what I needed to do. Then I'll just arrange these things a little bit. Then down here, I'll close the form. Save, and then I'll turn this into a submit. So our form is going to be small, and I'll give this one a name of first name. Then give this one second name so that we can have a small form. We don't want a big form. The value I'll put here is add student. No, save student. That's value I'll have. Then here, before we do anything, let's go to the browser and see how our form looks like. All right, the URL here, and I think it's 88. Yes, this and level 2 week, I think. Oh, I messed up on the week name. I put 14, but it should be week 2. Let me see. Excuse me. Let me check in my files and be sure.
You have something like Saturday.
Yeah, thank you very much. So Saturday here. Am I writing it right? Okay. Do I even have level 2 in it? I think I don't have, so I should just stick to yeah. So okay, I think the best I can do is copy this and take it to the right place. So paste item. So this is week 1, yes, of level 2. And I can come here and say week 1. Yes, so no, week 1 Saturday. Yes, this is our form. Okay. So that means in VS Code, I have to open the right folder. So I'll do that. Open folder. Okay, so this will be confusing. I need to make it a little bit easier by opening the Saturday alone. Yeah, there you go. So there is our form. So I think it needs an heading, which I'll put here. Add a new student. If you remember, we said that PHP communicates with HTML if we provide this action, but the action has not been created. So I have to create it here, and I call it send student to file.php. Now I'll put in a simple thing which says echo, I am alive. Thank God. That is what I'm gonna put in at the moment and save. Then we can come here, refresh. Yes, it has got a heading. And if we put in something here, David Wampamba, and save, we see I am alive, thank God. So we said that we can use the PHP methods, I mean the HTTP methods, to get data from the form. So what data are we going to get and what method are we going to use? Since we have method here as post, we can come over here and use the post and say first name and also echo post last name. Okay. And we can store these, we can echo them instead of storing them. We can echo them and see if we have the right things. If our PHP script really works, I'll comment this out. So I'll come over here. No, I'll go to the browser and go click back. They'll show me this form. I'll refresh it. And now I can add David Wampamba. And yeah, oh, they are saying last name easy. and define direct key. So that means I have to go in the index and see, oh, I put second name. Yes, so I'll put last name in the name attribute of the HTML tag. And this time I want to use label. I'll say placeholder and say last name. This is what the user is going to see. And also here, I'll say placeholder equals to first name. Okay, then I'll go back, refresh. I don't want anything in here. So it will be like that. And the first name is David. The last name is Wampamba. Then save student. And you see the name is here. Now we need to take that name to the file. Okay, so how are we going to take that name to the file? We shall come over here. And what do we need to do? We need to open the file. That's the first thing. So the process of adding data to the file. Okay. Open the file. For what? For writing. Okay. Then write data to the file. Close the file. Okay. What else might we need to do? Probably that is what we need to do. So how can we open the file? PHP has an inbuilt function. So I'll just say students file or student file equals to, there's an inbuilt function for PHP called fopen, which is short for file open, and it safely opens files for you. Then we shall put student, which is the path, students.txt, this one here is the name we shall put here. Then how do we open this for writing? We shall put a W there. That means that we are opening the file for writing. And this second parameter stands for the file mode. The first parameter stands for the file path. All right. Then if the file has not been opened, we can say or die. This function die is also a PHP inbuilt function which kills off the script from running and it outputs something. So we shall say file cannot be opened. We should do that. Then we can say opened for writing. Okay. Then we are going to go and to the browser and probably test this out. The writing mode means you want to add things to the file. Okay. We shall see the reading mode. Now, how can we add data to the file? That can be really something nice to know. And it's what we are going to do. So after opening the file, we can use another PHP inbuilt function called fwrite. And to it, we pass the file name, the file handle. This one becomes a file handle. In fact, let me name it this, student file handle. So it's the one we put as the first parameter of the fwrite. Okay. File student file handle. Okay. And put a comma and put the data that we want to put here. So in this case, we want to put this data, which is the post first name. Then we want to join that to the last name by using this space and using the dot as the concatenation symbols or operator, and then write post last what? Last name. Then we put a closing. Yes, after doing that, we need to make sure that, excuse me, we need to make sure that we close the file. Those are the 3 steps. So I'll name this 1, 2, 3. And if I come over here, I'll copy. So this is step 1. Give it that. Step 2 is this. Then we want step 3, which is close the file. Why do you need to close the file? You need to get it out of the memory so that your script can run properly. Should I call it run properly? I mean, so that your script doesn't continue consuming memory. Okay. So now we can, I think we can now go to, oh, I need to close the file. So I'll close the file here by using another inbuilt function fclose and save. Yeah, do I need to do anything? Yes, but for now, I won't mind about that. So for now, I won't mind. What I'm gonna do is, or let me do it. So here I can say, or die cannot write to file. Yeah. So this function runs. If it fails, this die runs. Okay, let's go and test. I think I can also put here a message that says student added to the file. Something like that. Okay, so now let's go here. Shall empty our page. This time I'm gonna add, no, let me add David Wampamba and save. Unquote argument fclose expects, you see that? So in fclose, I made a mistake. The fclose accepts an argument. So which argument? It has to be the file handle. So that's the one I put over here so that the file that we opened earlier can be closed, okay? But we can check the student's file to see if there's information, and the information is here. The information was written, so, all right. The only thing that wasn't done is that the file was not closed. So now we are going to go back and see something, okay? We are going to remove this from here and just go here. What we are going to do is to write Caroline Maureen. Now, we are going to see what is going to happen. So it is telling us properly that student added to the file. And I want to go to the file and check. You see, student has been added to the file, but guess what? David Wampamba has been removed. Okay? So you have to be careful when you are doing these things. And also know that sometimes you need the file to have such things. Sometimes you need the file to be overwritten when you add new things. And sometimes you need it to append information. So how can we append information to the file? That's what we're gonna see. Okay. The way we append information to the file, okay, is that we don't use, let me go let me go here. So here where we opened this, okay, what is going to happen is that we change, excuse me, let me check the chart. Okay, so what happens is that we are going to change the opening mode of the file to A, which means append. The way append works is that it, excuse me, you know what? I'm just gonna do this and then duplicate this so that we can retain the line of code and have this. So here I'll say open file in append mode. This will help us. Okay, so this means that every time we add something, okay, there is the thing that writes the file is called the file pointer. It will be starting at the end of the file. So that means that if David is in the file and we add Caroline Maureen, what is going to happen is that David is going to be retained and Caroline is going to be added. And because this is a database of students, we want that form of things. Let me hope you get it. So we shall go and go back. Okay, let's do this here in the file. Where? Here in the send to PHP down here, we are going to add something. Echo a href equals to index.php, and here put go back so that it is easier for me. But I have to close. The best way to do it is to close PHP from there and do this. All right. So I'll now go here and add David Wampamba. Remember, by now the file has Caroline Maureen. So I'll go here, click Save Students, and it says student added to the file. Go back. If I click go back, it takes me back here. And if I go now to students, you see, it has added me. And this is after the name Maureen is what it's considering to be the end of file. So it has appended David on the same line after the word Maureen. To solve that, to have David on the new line, what we are going to do is that we have to use a new line symbol, and the new line symbol is going to be added to this line of code here. Okay, so I'm going to remove this line of code here and I'll put it here. Okay, so I'll say student equals to that, so that things can be clear. Then the new line character is the backslash and n. That means that it is every time it enters a name, it is going to create a new line, so that if a new name is needed, a new name is added, it will be shown in the new line. All right, then here on line 22, I'll add student like that, and I'll go over here. Then I can write Henry Onyango. Then I can save. Student has been added. Now let's go to our file and we check. Oops. Okay. I think I know why. Let's try to add another student. I think another student will be added to the new line. Let's see. So Sharon, who a call, yeah. If I do that, let's see. Oh, where's VS Code? Yeah. So you see Sharon has been added to the new line. The reason Onyango was not added on the new line is that by the time the system finished adding David, its end of file was at Wampamba. It wasn't in a new line. So for that reason, I'm going to remove all of these and click that. Don't save. So the file is now empty, like you can see. So I'm going to start adding students. I'll click go back. I'll start with the Feni Nyaich. Go back. I'll add Caroline Maureen. Has been added. Go back. Then I'll add Henry Onyango. I'll go back and then I'll add Sharon Akol. And now let's go to our file and check it. See that? It has added them. Oops, it has even the first one. I don't know why the first one is a blank line. Maybe I left the blank line there. I'm not so sure, but you can see that these have been added as new lines. Now, that is how you can easily add data from the form to the PHP. However, the most important thing before adding data to a database is to make sure that the process of adding data. Okay, now I'll add something here. If the data is from the user, okay, make sure to sanitize it. Sanitize it. To sanitize it is to clean. So what we are going to do is I'm going to show you a simple sanitization. One of the simple sanitization is to use something like trim function, which removes spaces, unnecessary spaces from the beginning, especially from the beginning and the ending of a word. So we can set trim post first name. We can also get another function, which is for removing what? HTML special characters. Just a moment, let me see, PHP. There's something, there's a function that I've forgotten, but it can be very, very helpful. For example, we can use something like a regular expression, okay? Can use something like a regular expression and remove things from a string. So for example, I can use this p reg replace, and it will search and replace. So what it's gonna do, it will remove all special characters from the value we've put here, which might be what? Which might be like first name. So that means that after trimming, we assign to the first name variable. Then we put the first name variable here and get the new value as maybe cleaned first name. Something like that. Excuse me, I saw an error. Yeah, it is coming because of that semicolon. So we do the same thing for the, just a moment. So we do the same thing for the last name here, and put last name here, and put last name here and here. Then when we come to this, we remove these now and replace them with the first clean first and last name. Where was I? In which line? Yeah, here. So clean last and yes, that. So I will try this out, okay? I'm gonna try this out. So we go back here and I'm gonna put David, then I'll put something like this. I don't know if this is considered a special character, but I'll put it there. Let me not put David. Let me put, for example, Peter. And then I can put something like what special symbol? Is this a special symbol? Let's see. Then I will save the student. The student has been saved. Let me go now to the file. We see. Are you seeing that? Special characters have been removed by PHP. So why do you do that? To avoid things like SQL injection. If you are using a database like MySQL, Postgres, and you allow code to be saved unintentionally, that means people are going to hack your system. So we want to do the cleaning before anything. Now, after looking at how to add data, both in write mode and append mode, now we are going to look at how to read the data so that we display it on the file. And what we are going to do, we are going to go to our HTML here, okay? And we are going to display a table of students. So we shall put the heading of H1, no, H2, students in the database. So that, then we shall put a table here. The table usually has a what? Table head. And the table head will have a row. Then the row will have table headers, headings. And then these headings will be first name, then this will have last name. And here, and here, then we're gonna, undo. So then it has a table body like that, and the table body has a tiara and a table cell, which will, for now, I will leave it blank because we haven't yet read information. And excuse me, people. And we close the TD and open another TD, put a dash, TD, table row, and table body. So it's important for the table to have a table footer, and the table footer can have the same things as the table heading. So you're going to copy this and paste it down over here and just call it tfoot. I've forgotten whether it's called tfooter or tfoot, but we shall find out. The reason is that if the table is very long, if it has a lot of data, you want your users not to struggle when they reach at the bottom or the top the bottom or top of it. You don't want them to be confused whether this is a first name, because the table header gives a guideline to the reader. So if we go over here, we refresh, this is what we have, students in the database, and then we have these. We can add some how do they call it? Border, maybe. I'll just say style. I've forgotten. Is it what? There is a certain. Okay, let me do this, guys. Let me put a style over here to just help us to style this table a bit. Shall put it here. Then we can say TH and TD are going to have a border of 1 pixel, which is solid and it's gray. Then, and these are going to have a padding of something like 10 pixels on top, bottom, right, and left. And we shall have the cell spacing and border. I think this goes to table. Then we say border what? Border. Is it cell spacing? I'll leave it for now. I've forgotten what, but I hope this works. Let's see, let's refresh over here. Yes, this works. So what we are going to do now is to start reading the information and put it here. So how we shall do that is we can write our PHP over here. Say PHP equals, but it's better not to mix PHP a lot. So what we are going to do is that we are going to create another file called students return students.php. Okay, return students.php. Now, what are we going to do here? We are going to read from a file. From the file. After reading, so when we are reading, the steps we shall take are open the file for reading. Then that's the first step. Process the data from the file, then close the file. As simple as that. And how shall we do it? You remember we have our students, we have our file open, student handle equals to file fopen. Then we put a file here, which is students.txt. Then we put our mode, which should be read. And we can say cannot open the file. So that's the error in case. This replaces the if you don't want the long if, you can just do all, then you call this function. This function, let me put a file here which does not exist, like student instead of students, and we test this out. So I will go to the browser and put in here, I'll put return students.php. You see, file open, failed to open stream, no such file or directory. And even it has shown this, whatever here, cannot open file. It has also shown the warning. Okay, so That's how that die works. So, but for the file which is existing, it would not give us that error. Now, process the data. So how are we going to process the data? Okay, we have to find a way of processing the data. We can read the file line by line, okay? And we can also read it to the end of a line, to the end of the file. So what we shall do, we shall use a while statement and say while, then get our, then get a function which is called e of, so file end of file. That's what it stands for. And we put the student handle here and we say if is not false, okay? So we put it here and we say whenever it's not false, the while loop can still operate, can still run. Then we can end the while here. And after ending the while, we shall now have done what? We shall have, excuse me, we shall have finished, so we can close the file by putting student handle here. Now we can go on implementing, so we can say that echo, so we output the file gets my, so this f gets will get one line from the file. It will get one line from the file. And the while is helping us to go back to that file and see if the file, if the fe of has not reached the end of the file. As simple as that. And it will echo it. So let's go to the browser and see. I'll have to put this here, return students. And we see, oh, it has not done anything. So I have to go back here and see. Echo fget. Let me see, what have I done wrong? Fget. So I think this one here has been not written properly. I have to be sure, because we've not gotten a warning, error, nothing. But does our file have information? Yes, it has information. So why is it bringing an empty? I need to find out why. Did I write this? Let me try it without the, Okay, probably I need to just, I just need to do the opposite. Let me see, by putting this one here. I think I messed up this condition here. Yes, I had messed up the condition. Instead, to make it easy, I would have said, if not true, I think this is what I was supposed to say to make it simpler. And then, yes, now you see that these are appearing on one line. What we need to do is to make them appear on different lines. And we simply write echo break line here. And yeah, so if we come over here, yeah, it has worked. Now, what we're gonna do is we need to make sure that this information can be, Mhm. We need to make sure that this information can be returned to the other page, which has a form. So we cannot echo it from here, but probably what we can do is to introduce an array so that we see how arrays work. So students equals to an empty array. And then every time we get a line, we shall say if the line is not empty, shall write it here. If the line is not empty, now do what? Get the students array equals. Ooh, so I need to assign this to something. So I need to say student equals to that line. Now we can say if student is not empty, we can, this echo doesn't come here. We assign that student to the index, to the current index of the array like that. And then we can call it the end. So how can we bring this file to this index, which is going to display things? We can bring it here using a PHP method called, inbuilt method called require once. And we say return what? Dash students.php. So we've acquired this file and we've brought its variables in this file. Then since we have the students in this file, we can print R just to test students, but it might not work until we do something. Let's first go and test it out. I want to go to, you see now when I refresh to return students, it does not print anything because we did not tell it to echo anything. So I'll go here, Saturday, and you can see that instead, what it has returned a lot of arrays. So that means here, that means there's a problem around here. I said if not empty student. Oh, here you see the mistake. I said students instead of student, so it should be student here. Then let me go back to the browser. Yeah, so we have an array which has Feni Nyaichi as on what? On one, Caroline on 2, but there's this empty one. So how that empty one, here this did not work. So we can say or student not, I think null. I'm not sure because I don't want to take this. I don't want to take this line to the view. So that's why I made that condition. Let's refresh over here. It has come. All right, I can leave it out and then, I never wanted to leave it out. Or student not equal to this. Will that work? I don't know, but we shall see. It has also not worked. We shall see. So I'd forgotten, but now we can go here to the index here. Since our students have come from this file, now we can use them around here, okay? And how are we going to use them? We shall come at the table body. We want to, for each student, we want that student to be in its row. So what we are going to do, we shall put PHP here and say for each students as student, okay? Then do what? There's something we have to do. Because we want the first name to be in the first table cell, then the second name to be in the second table cell, we would have to do something. And that something we are going to do is called, we are going to use a PHP function called, so I would just say student chunk. That's what I'll write, equals to explode. This one, explode, is it, yeah, explode the student. So, and where there is a space. So this one will break the student. It will look at the student string, which is David space Wampamba. And when it finds the space, it will break this string into an array. So then that array is going to have, I'll come over here and say student, no, I'll just do equals to student chunk. Because now those arrays will be at indexes 0 and 1. So I'll do this because student chunk equals 1. And then in that, then this one here, I would have to end the PHP tag here and open the PHP tag again so that I can end the for each. So I'll write end for each. But if I'm using that, then I need to put a colon here. So let's see if this works. You know, these are replacing the echo. And all right, let's go ahead and check it out. Ooh, it says explode argument cannot be empty in. I think I've written the explode in a wrong way. Let me see, unquote value error explode argument. Separator cannot be empty. So probably what I have to do is to change these two, put the separator first, then put the value that is going to be exploded. It's last, probably. I'll refresh this and you can see. So the first student, remember, is an empty string. So that's why here we are having this warning, and here we are having the warning because how do we PHP file get an empty line. Let me see so that we can remove it. Check if line is ready. Let's see. So this person says trim, you can also use this, or you can use this. Okay, so I'll go back here and I'll go to return students and use what those people are doing. What student, if student not equal to and a new line, then assign. Let's see. Wow, it is working. But then the last one, what is happening with the last one? we can even also check the length of our array to be sure. So here I'll say size of students. So I echo it up here to see, because I expect the students to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you can see that here there is a line 7, which is empty. And I don't know why this system is not considering it. So we are going to check and refresh. It shows 6. So I don't know what is in the last line. What's in the last line? Let me try to delete it and then we see. So you can see 5 and we have our students properly. So let's try to add a student and we see. So if we add a student like David Nyuru. Oh, yes. Save. So it says student added, go back. If we come back, David has been added to this. Let's see how David has been saved. Is there anything we changed? So David has been attached to this, which is wrong. Okay, because Peter didn't have a new line character. Oh, that's wrong. Okay, so let me refresh after correcting it. And there you go. David Anur is there. So guys, that's how you could add information to a file and read information from a file. So yeah, I think, yes, I think I will cover other things. I will have to do some research on why, about the new line characters, and we see how we can do better with them, but so far, so good. So to recap, this file of reading students, what we did, we created a variable. Why did we create a variable? It's because we wanted to utilize it and save information to it, okay? We wanted to save information to it, and that information is from the file. And we said that, so we went ahead and created a handle, assigned it a file which is in read mode, and then we also used the while loop to loop the file itself line by line. And for each line, we read that line using the fgets student, the fgets, where we pass an argument, which is the file handle. Then here we checked if the line we are on is not a new line character. And if it's not a new line character, that line is added to the PHP array. Okay, that's what happens. Then we end the while and we also close the file. All right. Then after closing the file, where we want to display our data, we use the PHP inbuilt function called require once, which is a safe file. There are others, which is a safe function. There are many others, but this is the safest. So we pass the file name as the argument, and the file we pass there is the file which has PHP code. Then here we read how many, because this file has a variable called students, and that variable is in this file. So we read how many students are in the file. In fact, we can write here number of students and do that. Then we can do something like that to make it more, for it to look more organized. We can even, yeah. Then we went ahead here and used the for each loop to loop over the file, okay? So So this helps us to loop over the file. We can also use a for loop. In fact, we can use a for loop, and for example, we can say for I equals 0, I less than size of students, something like that. Then we remove the as and we say I plus plus. Then we can come over here and explode the student at I, and then we close the for, and the rest remains the same. And if we come back, explode, okay, just a moment, let me see. Explode is passing an empty. Oh yes, here it should be students, not student. Then we can go over, refresh, and there you go. There you go. So that can also work. It depends on what you want. In your free time, you can even play around it. So that's it.